Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're going to dive into something absolutely massive. It's a fascinating, almost completely invisible network of ocean highways. And the crazy part? This cinematic, globe-spanning web completely controls the modern world economy. Yet most of us go about our daily lives and never even see it. We're talking about the incredible, high-stakes, hidden battle for the roads that move the world. So let's just jump right in. Seriously, take a second right now and ask yourself, how did the exact device you're watching this explainer on actually get to you? Because it wasn't magic. Almost everything around you, your smartphone, the clothes you're wearing right now, the parts inside your car, even the food sitting in your pantry, has traveled thousands and thousands of miles across highly vulnerable, hidden ocean routes before finally landing in your hands. We all just kind of take it for granted, right? We assume goods just magically appear on store shelves or show up in a cardboard box on our doorsteps. But behind literally every single product is this epic, globe-spanning journey across vast, unpredictable waters. And the sheer scale of what we are dealing with here is just staggering. Trillions, with a T. The global shipping industry's value is measured in the trillions of dollars. These vibrant, bustling, massive vessels are out there right now, moving the vast majority of all global trade. We're talking about the literal lifeblood of international commerce. And because this network is so massively integrated, so fine-tuned and valuable, even a minor disruption to these carefully plotted routes doesn't just, delay a few packages. No, it shifts the entire world economy. So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the invisible ocean highways, the evolution of global shipping, the world's vital choke points, the forces rewriting the map, technology transforming trade, and finally, the future of global routes. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the invisible ocean highways. If you could somehow see all these shipping routes at once, the map of the world would be completely covered in this complex, vibrant web. These routes basically act as the circulatory system for globalization. They aren't just, convenient paths for boats to travel on. They are the absolute economic lifelines that keep global industries breathing. They're heavily guarded strategic assets, and honestly, they serve as intense geopolitical pressure points. Ultimately, whoever has access to and influence over these colorful, crisscrossing ocean networks effectively dictates national security and supply chain stability for the entire planet. Moving on to Section 2, evolution of global shipping. To truly understand where trade is heading tomorrow, we kind of have to look back at how we got here. How did we transform the wild, untamed oceans from these massive physical barriers into a highly efficient global conveyor belt? Well, it started way back in the ancient era with those incredibly slow, perilous journeys for spices and luxury goods along maritime connections to the Silk Road. Then fast forward to the Age of Exploration, and we saw this massive European maritime expansion, establishing early colonial trade networks. But the world truly shrank, completely transformed in the mid-20th century. International supply chains just exploded, and it was all driven by one incredibly simple, surprisingly colorful invention that you see stacked up at literally every modern port: the shipping container. It's wild to think about, but before we standardized shipping into those colorful metal boxes, ports were chaotic. It was a mess. You had incredibly slow loading times, very high transportation costs, and as a direct result, markets remained largely isolated from each other. But after containerization, game changer. We suddenly achieved lightning-fast loading with these massive, towering automated cranes. Transport became incredibly cheap and reliable. By simply standardizing a metal box, companies could suddenly build these incredibly complex supply chains, effectively turning the entire planet into one synchronized, deeply connected global factory. It's exactly what makes your cheap electronics and affordable consumer goods possible today. Okay, Part 3, the world's vital choke points. So all this incredible fine-tuned efficiency is great, but it created a massive hidden vulnerability. The entire global system now relies heavily on a few very narrow, highly congested corridors. When you look at the world's vital choke points side by side, it's really eye-opening. You've got the Suez Canal connecting Europe and Asia, which offers a massive reduction in travel distance. There's the Panama Canal, famously linking the Atlantic and Pacific, serving as a totally vital artery for global container trade. Then we have the Strait of Hormuz, absolutely critical for the global energy and oil supply flowing straight out of the Middle East. And of course, the South China Sea, connecting Asia to global markets, which has become the absolute epicenter of strategic trade competition. Think about it, A blockage, a stuck ship, or a regional conflict in just one of these narrow bottlenecks, even if it's thousands of miles away from you, can instantly trigger massive price spikes, halt factory production, and literally leave empty shelves in your local grocery store.
Which brings us to Section 4, Forces Rewriting the Map.
This is really the core issue of our explainer. The map of global trade, which has been relatively stable for decades, is rapidly changing right before our eyes. Driven by the massive supply chain disruptions we saw during recent global pandemics and all that severe port congestion, major companies are completely rewriting their playbooks. They are entirely abandoning the old model of maximum efficiency and lowest cost at all times. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they're pivoting hard towards security and reliability. They're actively diversifying their transport networks so they aren't relying on just one single route anymore. We're seeing a huge embrace of concepts like nearshoring, which just means moving manufacturing physically closer to home, and friendshoring, which means prioritizing trade with economically and politically aligned nations. All of this, alongside a major boost in regional manufacturing, means the focus is now firmly on supply chain resilience. But hey, it is not just corporate strategy rewriting the map, it's the physical planet itself. Climate change and extreme weather events are forcing the maritime industry to adapt fast. With ice melting, we are potentially looking at entirely new northern trade routes opening up through the Arctic. Now, the benefits here are massive. These routes offer drastically shorter distances between major economies and open up brand new economic opportunities. However, the challenges are equally huge. We're talking about severe environmental concerns for a highly pristine ecosystem, not to mention a severe lack of the modern port infrastructure you actually need to support massive cargo fleets. It is a true high-risk, high-reward frontier. And as these routes literally shift across the globe, so does the balance of power. If we take a completely impartial, neutral look at the geopolitical board right now, major economies are strategically working to secure their shipping independence. You have China heavily focused on dominating major port infrastructure globally to support its deep manufacturing dependence. The United States is leveraging its massive naval power while heavily prioritizing domestic supply chain security. Meanwhile, Europe and other regions are focusing on developing their own ports and establishing reliable alternative routes. What this all proves, without a doubt, is that modern logistics is no longer just a business issue, it is absolutely a matter of top-tier national security. So, Section 5, Technology Transforming Trade. With mounting geopolitical pressure, massive global bottlenecks, and severe environmental challenges, how exactly do we solve this? Well, a vibrant surge of new technology is sweeping the maritime world, and it basically breaks down into 4 major areas. First up, smart port automation, where glowing, automated warehouses and massive robotic cranes are operating tirelessly around the clock. Next, AI route optimization, where ships are actually using predictive artificial intelligence to navigate around storms and port congestion in real time. Then we've got the huge push for green alternative fuels to create much cleaner vessels and finally cut down emissions. And lastly, digital tracking systems. These are giving us unprecedented supply chain visibility, allowing us to track a single colorful container across the vast rolling ocean down to the exact minute. I really love this quote. The future ship may be controlled as much by software as by sailors. It just brilliantly captures the sheer scale of the upcoming digital revolution. I mean, we're entering an era where sophisticated code, advanced predictive algorithms, and real-time tracking technology will navigate the world's oceans just as much as human captains ever have. It's truly a new world out there. And that brings us to our final section, Part 6, the future of global routes. Let's pull all of this together, the history, the geography, the cutting-edge tech, and project this out, because we are looking at a radically different future for the world economy. Over the next few decades, we are going to witness a spectacular transformation. By 2030, we'll see smarter, highly automated ports, AI-driven logistics, and a massive shift toward cleaner maritime fuels really taking over the industry. Moving into 2040, we could absolutely see those dramatic new Arctic routes opening up for regular transit, operating right alongside vast fleets of autonomous, self-navigating ships. And by 2050, we are looking at the emergence of a fully connected, highly climate-adapted, and deeply regionalized global logistics network. The entire map of globalization is evolving right beneath our feet. The core reality of this explainer is this. For centuries, the oceans were these vast, terrifying voids that physically separated civilizations. But today, they're the one thing connecting us all together. The routes that carry the world's economy are changing faster than ever before. And frankly, whoever adapts fastest to these new trade routes, new technologies, and shifting geopolitical realities will undoubtedly shape the future of global trade. So, as the physical and political map of the global economy continues to be actively rewritten every single day, we have to ask ourselves one final critical question. The world depends entirely on these invisible highways across the oceans. So where will those highways lead next? How will these shifting oceans reshape our daily lives, our economies, and the very products we rely on tomorrow? It's a lot to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you all to keep your eyes on the horizon.
Thanks for watching World Decoded. Make sure to like and share, subscribe, and stay curious.